Hello, welcome everyone to Words of Wisdom. I'm Judy Huda, and I'm pleased to be back and carry on conversations with some of our guests and who will be sharing their wisdom and their experiences of throughout their life. And we talk about some interesting topics. But I want to just get started, so I introduce you to Jeannie and
Clive Martin.
Clive Martin, yeah. So thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom with us today and for our viewers. So just to get you started, get the conversation going, I'm curious if you can both talk about, because you've been seen as a very positive persons. Can you talk a little bit about how you became that way? Were you always people that were seen as positive? Is it something that was an attitude change at some point in life? Like, talk a little bit about how you are positive and inspirational today.
Well, for me, I think I was born that way because when I was a little girl, I thought, this planet is mine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so I've always looked at what's possible.
Okay.
So no matter what was happening, well, what's real now? I'm definitely a realist.
Yeah.
And then what is possible. And I also had parents that encouraged me to be myself.
Wow.
That had a big influence on me.
Right.
So I've lived my passion, I feel, and as long as you stay in what you're passionate about, then life feels great.
Okay, yeah. Good, thanks. Clive, how about you? Were you always a positive person?
No.
No, okay. Like a lot of us weren't. We came that way, so I'm curious, how did you become positive?
I was raised in a political family. My uncle was Eric Martin, who was in BC politics.
Okay.
And over the years, I developed quite a negative attitude. I was against the Vietnam War and all of that stuff. And then I ran into the emissaries, and one of the fellows that I was working with had written a book called Memories and Visions of Paradise. And in it, he talks about the dragon and how you fight the dragon. And then one day you realize the dragon is your friend, not your enemy. So I guess today I look at it and I think everything God makes is positive. So it's only the human mind that creates the negative.
Okay. So our thoughts is how we think, then it's our thinking that could create things to be positive or negative, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm a believer that the universal mind that runs the universe, that's God. And is my thinking in alignment with that, or do I get snared in by Donald Trump and a myriad of other things? And can I see the positive in something like Donald Trump?
And I think that's certainly when we talked at the first conversation, one thing we did talk about was that why did this even start? Like, why did Mats and Pats and myself, why did we collaborate on this? And it was for that very reason, Clive, was that how do we stay the positive path, the path of hope, the path of fun and life when there's so much negativity? And the other part is, how do we teach that to our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren? So it's something that it's just very easy to go down that path. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Something I just wanted to share too, before we started filming, you two are newlyweds, 10 years, and I think that's an interesting story too. That do you want to talk a little bit about, just quickly, like, did you guys ever think you're going to get married again after your first marriage, or?
Well, I think both of us agree on this, that at this stage of life, you might ask yourself, well, why would I get married?
Yeah.
You know, what's the point? And what we have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So we wanted to show the children that you could start again at any stage in life, that you could love again, that you could commit again. And they were a big part of our wedding ceremony. So we could have just as easily not done that, but we had a real passion for showing them, and that's part of what I believe we can do for the children is model it, don't just talk about it.
So along that line, how do you? So you said about modeling. What are some other ways that you do influence and teach others, not just children and grandchildren, but others, about living a positive and fulfilling life with hope? How do you guys do that?
Well, for me, I and my daughters, I was a single mom for many years, and I believe that at the core of who you become is, first of all, is a level of respect. Respect for yourself, respect for the wisdom of your elders, respect for the world and the diversity in that world. So that's how I've tried to model that with my kids. And if something was out of line, I addressed it right away. And so I like to think that they have, I like to say manners, because that's something that's subjective.
Right.
But to honor everybody else's path, everybody's a soul on their own path. But to love yourself first, and not making it all about me, but how do I feel inside, because that reflects out in your world. And that's what I talk to them a lot about.
Right. And about other people, like women and men your age and older, younger, so besides your kids, you have the same approach?
Yes. Yes.
Clive, how about you? What do you do to make sure that people know you and sort of how you can influence them to be positive?
Well, I was just thinking of an example of my oldest son. He decided to go back to school and go to university at, I don't know how old he was, getting close to 30. And from my background and my view of the world, then he says to me, I'm going to take accounting. And my first thought was a little bit of shock. But then I've always gone to that internal space where I think I have to be supportive of this. But I have to really be supportive of it. I have to put that thought of how ridiculous aside, and it came out of my mouth, oh great. Well, it ends up he took 1 year of accounting and decided that wasn't his thing. Then he went on for another couple of years, changed a little bit, and then at one point he came to me and he said, I'm quitting. I'm not going to go anymore. And I said, oh, why? And he said, well, I think I'm going because my mother, he wanted to go into teaching now. I think I'm going more because my mother was a teacher and I was doing it for her. I said, well, great. That's a good decision to make it. And then later he comes and he says, I'm going back to school. I'm going to become a teacher. And this time I'm doing it for me. So I sort of look at those decisions he made as a bit of a reflection of my coaching and my acceptance of where he's at. So
yeah, I think it's that respect of the other person and allowing them to become their best selves.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but another thing that I watch him do is that he never makes anyone wrong. Particularly the kids, you're not wrong. Yeah. Let's just look at that a little deeper, and that's pretty powerful. I've seen how it has been with his kids.
No judgment, just curiosity.
Yeah, my second son has got into a sort of a ridiculous thing with his ex-wife and my oldest son and daughter. And I wanted to go and talk to him But I had this idea in my head of how stupid this whole situation was. So I couldn't go and talk to him until I got rid of that idea, and that I just wanted to go and talk to him. And it didn't matter if that subject came up, but if it came up, it had to come up because of him. Because
That's awesome.
if I had that idea playing in the background, I'm sure he would have picked it up.
That's awesome. It's a lot of self-management, self-awareness, self-respect, self-management. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to wrap, because I know we're running near the end. What words of advice would you give people over 55 to, if you had to give any advice to enjoy life and to, what would you say to them? Is there any advice you would give people 55?
Well, I would say that as long as we're above ground and breathing, there is something that can be done at any level. It doesn't matter whether you have a physical affliction,
Right.
or you think you're just too old, but with that age comes wisdom.
Yes.
And our young people need us. So as we gather together, that's what I would say, is that start coming together and be that wisdom circle to guide our children into the future with what we've learned about the deepest parts of ourselves and what's important in this world. So I'm happy to be here for that very same reason, as that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, thanks. Clive?
Well, I've wanted to narrow things down in life because it gets pretty confusing, all the stuff going on, to what I call the one. And the key to that is to express the one I am. And I am, to me, is the name of what we call God, what I call the universe. And to just keep going back to that space. And the toughest thing to be me is to be the total expression of me, because I went through that whole thing of what do you think, and I can't be you. You're taken. So,
That's awesome.
and the final thing would be, it's an emissary slogan: let love radiate without concern for results. And when we get tangled up in the concern for the result, then we go down the tube to whatever.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to close today with a really great quote. It's called "Hope Has Power," and I don't know who wrote it because I saw it off a post and I loved it. But this is, I think, just wraps up what we were talking about today. It says, "Dreams are renewable. No matter what our age or condition, there are still untapped possibilities within us and beauty waiting to be born." So on that note, thank you very much, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.